Hello and welcome to the 6CW Legacy Podcast, brought to you by Harlequin Productions. Today we have loads to discuss. We're talking 6CW finances, we're talking the TV title tournament, we might even cover the next card of Anarchy, and you've got your questions in, so without further ado, let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome to the 6CW Legacy Podcast. Today I am joined by Chris Wilkerson, Marky Rutherford, and the man whose name is not real, Paul McCarthy. How are you all?
Oh. That's all I'm giving you. Oh.
Are you eating again, Chris?
Fat fucker.
Maybe. Marky's a feeder, he keeps sending me food.
What's he sent you this week?
Can we all in one night?
That was for breakfast.
Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the TV title tournament. Paul, I understand it was your idea primarily?
I'm not going to take all of the credit, no. It was my idea. It was pitched a long time ago in terms of removing the Extreme title, and so we needed a vehicle to kind of get everyone involved in fighting for a new belt. And I think it was Chris who actually suggested the structure for the tournament and put in a lot of the work in terms of how the tournament would look.
Okay, so
I'd probably pitch the whole tournament idea was probably Paul's. I think I just decided to start thinking about what it would look like, basically, from there, really. I think it was probably when I was trying not to do the segments I had to do, so I thought I'd do something else instead.
That's a reoccurring theme, isn't it?
If you make yourself look like you're busy, people ignore the things you're not doing.
Marky, how have you sort of greeted the tournament? Do you enjoy doing it, or?
Yeah, bear in mind I've been part of the tag team with Grace for I've not, but you know what I mean, with Twist for so long that it feels like no longer, that having something different, just that little bit of a boost, you know, especially when it comes to promos.
Of course, obviously you got through to the next round.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm gutted about Percival, though, to be honest. I think he should have beaten Hop Rory.
I mean, obviously you've got your title match on the next card. If you were to not win that, I'm not saying you won't, but if you were to not win that, who would your next opponent would you prefer?
Oh, surely, regardless of whether he wins or loses, he's still in the tournament.
Oh, obviously, but who would you prefer?
I think. Alright, Angel Harlequin.
You want Angle?
Yeah.
Cool, I like it. Connection.
I'm just trying to remember who you have next, but I don't have to remember that for a week yet, so it's fine.
You actually decided already?
Thinking behind that was just that with Grace losing to Engel, it just might be another issue in there with Grace and Adamson.
Okay.
Depends if there is a real issue there. There's a perceived issue. Everyone seems to be reading into the fact that the two don't get on, and that there's going to be some point something's going to come to a head and they're going to split. I think that's just because everyone assumes that eventually there'll be a feud between tag partners. We might just be, throwing in red herrings left, right, and centre, and this is a tag team that's going to go on for years and years.
I can't see why it wouldn't. I mean, they're a popular team, megastars. They're bound to have a 6CW in universe following. There's no need for them to split so soon, I don't think, personally.
I think they're quite new in terms of tag team. They seem to have been around for quite a long time, and I know it's because we're fortnightly in terms of our shows. It has been months and months and months, but there's probably quite a lot of story to tell, and they haven't really had an opportunity yet to show how good they could possibly be in that division. So I don't foresee them going separate ways just yet. I could be lying, and it could be happening next week.
I do find that interesting because since they became a thing, like a team, it was basically so when they split it up, it's never been a kind of these two are going to stick around for a while. It was always kind of they'll probably win the title before they split up. Then I guess almost like anything before had slightly secondary. I'm not saying that's to Marky or Darren as such as everyone else. I think really.
Yeah, I think
so much of a problem between Adamson and Grace storyline wise before this. They had their feud the year earlier. I think that's where it comes from. It's not like they coexisted and they knew each other, started a tag team. It's they hated each other and then became a tag team.
Yeah, but I would say as characters, since that match at Night of Glory last year, wasn't it? That they've probably come a long way, so they're not the same people since then.
It's just that's possibly where people are getting to thinking about, or when they're going to split up, when one of them going to tell the other one.
Well,
what was your initial thinking when they looked like they were going to get together? Not in that way, obviously.
Sounds like
although maybe, who knows?
We're hoping for like our own version of Billy and Chuck, really.
When's the wedding?
Well, you could be Rico, and then we'll decide from there.
Well, we've started reading the WWA shows for ideas. So, based on what's happening in those kind of shows, anything is possible.
Read Ollie.
Unfortunately, I have.
Well, Shat is sinking like the sinking ship that it is.
Well, their name like I'm shocked.
They didn't particularly take to my Fed called Twat, where the joke was every week, how can I fit the word twat in? that was pretty much all I had. And considering that he didn't get a good rating from the first week, I was pretty fucked after that.
That's like, remember when WWE had a character called Who, and it was just a chance for them to just do the joke, who is in the ring and who is going to win, over and over again, because they thought that would be really funny.
I can't remember that. Was that early 90s or?
It was around the time when they had really good gimmicks like the Minotaur and Max Moon and other such greats.
Mantor, you mean?
That's the one. That's the one.
Future Hall of Famer like that role.
The gobbledygooker. Okay, so Marky, we've talked about obviously Anthony Grace and Max Adamson splitting. Creative have obviously said, well, we can't see that happening yet. So, where do you see the team going from here?
It's almost like they've taken a back seat to the tag titles, but maybe they haven't. Obviously, just got to wait and see what happens. But maybe in my head it was like if they didn't beat the Forgotten to the titles, then there's nowhere else for them to go. But maybe that's probably not the case. Depends. I think the focus always was taking down the Forgotten. I think that will still be the case. It will still be Adamson and Grace against two of the Forgotten, if they were going to stay as a team, maybe at Night of Glory.
The Forgotten don't exist anymore. Do you not read the shows?
Everyone's been mentioning the Forgotten a few weeks. I thought we've done well with that because everyone has completely ignored the fact that we've taken them out and it's not a thing anymore.
Well, they're kind of still a couple of them, aren't they?
Well,
maybe not even Forgotten, but there's still Joshua and there's still.
Yeah, it's just the entity as such as the Forgotten is dead, really.
Yeah, maybe fair enough. Maybe as a stable they're done, but still the members are still there.
Yeah, you've got Corey and Stevens are still there. Obviously, they have their own problems based on what's happened in the past, and they've lost.
Correct.
Yeah, they've lost the tag titles to Standard Steel, if that's what we're calling them now. I don't know. Has that been accepted that is their name?
I still always refer to them as Steel Hill.
I think that Paul, doesn't like the Standard Steel name, but they're sort of going with it because nobody can come up with anything for them.
He's not on the show anyway. Fuck him. Standard Steel it is.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that gives me even more reason to
I hate
use it.
that name. I hate that name, I does. My nose. Nailed it.
Okay, so
You were here, mate. Sorry.
Lads, pissed me off.
Whip it to walk.
Also, you've got Dicey Riley walking out of the TV title tournament. How do we see this going? I mean, he's basically said, "Fuck Joe."
you asking me. I mean, this is a problem if you ask me or Paul that question, really.
Well, okay, Marky, how do we see this going? And then the creative team can sort of give us some hints.
I'd like. Do you know what? If it wasn't Adamson in a title match, maybe this wouldn't come across as egotistical. But maybe he gets involved. Maybe Dicey gets involved in the title match to screw over Jones.
You see, I saw this in the 606 chat, and I was actually going to mention it. I think it's actually quite a good idea. Have Dicey screw Joshua, and then you could have Joshua versus Dicey at Night of Glory.
But that was one of many options thrown about the chat thread, wasn't it? Somebody also said about Jones turning his back on Joshua and siding with Adamson.
For the ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is to do with the finances, isn't it?
This year so far.
Do you feel that you've opened up a can of worms by like releasing these finances?
Well, this is what happens when I'm sat on the train, bored for a few hours, and I think I sent it to Chris and said, "What do you think about this? Shall I keep this for something that we can post in a few weeks' time?" And he went, "No, do it now. Something to talk about." So I did.
I think word for word that might be what I said.
I just threw it out there, not really considering what impact it might have. There were a few people that got missed out, some deliberately, some not so deliberately. But you know, it's the same as the Gateway to Glory, really. You know, some people are in, some people are out.
A lot of people.
Well, you know, I mean, considering you wrote this before Martin Might left the company, he never got a mention.
He was in the finances. He got paid. He was paid.
Was he a starter package?
An appearance fee.
Oh, he was a big box office draw.
Thing, wasn't it?
He was big and he worked in the box office. That's the best you could have for him, really.
Yeah.
He had a big drawer in the box office where we kept some of his papers.
Okay, so Max Adamson obviously is one of the highest earners. Engel is on a starter package. Did it actually mention? I only did a brief read through. Did it mention what the starter package entailed, or?
I don't believe you did you?
No, we didn't give any details.
Okay.
It's just, you know, a basic deal. You know, you get
Minimum
your
wage.
yeah,
Minimum wage.
basically. Just above the cost of living. Yeah.
You see, this is why Engel promos so much. It's like an hourly rate, so he just has to keep promoing.
Well, his yearly wage paid for his suit, so he's screwed now.
You're paying him just as much as the junior doctors. Uh-oh, satire.
But surely some money goes towards, the asylum.
Why would you pay for an asylum you're not in?
Because obviously there's got to be some sort of psychiatric support coming from there, keeping Engel in check.
I think it's clear to see that the support model has failed Engel somewhat.
Maybe that's why he's on money. It's just no out business for it.
Yep.
We pay a monthly fee to keep a padded cell available 24/7 for if we need it, but that's about it.
That's when Liam goes to cry.
Yeah, but that's not just for Engel. That could be for anyone. Yeah.
Is this the sin
Where
bin?
we send Ed.
The sin bin. Okay,
Always
so
manages to crawl out.
Obviously I'm just going through the tournament results. Obviously Engel beat Anthony Grace and gave a little bit of a handshake at the end. Was there any meaning behind that? Can you sort of elaborate, or is that future spoilers?
I would say within any reasons. The character we have to always try and portray of Grace is that he is he's a nice stand-up guy. Basically, that's what made him gave him the face heel twist at the start, is that he was too nice, and is why I suppose he's kind of remained stoically as a face for these, because he's just meant to be a very nice person. So why wouldn't he? And Engel, I suppose, I'm guessing, he's corporate figure now, and the corporate figure wouldn't want to annoy someone who could be such a bankroller for the company. That is just one to play on it anyway.
Okay. Then we've got Jeff Steele. He beat Mike Masters. Could we see some friction in the future between Hill and Steele?
Just love splitting up tag teams, don't you?
It's the only way we can get Perfect Execution back as champs.
Just split up every other team going.
Yeah, basically. I don't know. I think Steele and Hill, they're obviously tag champions, so I don't think we haven't shown any kind of dissension between them. I think they're quite a solid tag team. So no, I can't foresee anything. But who knows? Who knows what's around the corner? It depends on how far Jeff progresses in the tournament.
We've got a lot of segments recently regarding Kramer and Jones, which are alluding to control of the company. Marky, having read them, do you feel that a big change is coming?
We'd all like to say yes, but maybe it's a bit teasing. You know what happens. A lot of cock teasing going on with these shows and these segments, and it could just be something that could be absolutely nothing. But I'd like to think that with Kramer being the consultant in 6WF, that maybe there's something there with the like Atkins and Marshall down the line, but maybe.
On the other side of the Standard Steel tag team, Mike Hill faced off against Cerberus and lost. Will we see a change in dynamic in terms of, like, obviously the tag team champions, but Steel is still in the TV title tournament currently? Do you think there may be some? I'm not saying obviously splitting up, but do you think there'll be some tension?
I don't think there's anything that suggested it as yet.
I think the end of the Steel match sort of suggested it. I think the commentators alluded to that.
Henry's always going to hyperbole as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just the viewpoint of the commentators. You know, don't listen to them. They're there just to wind up each other, I think. And sometimes they just change places. You know, a whole new commentary team appears from nowhere. So don't take notice of the commentators.
Obviously, they're both also swapped between heel and face as well. Remember?
Yeah.
All the time.
But now that you've been told the handy hint for remembering how you determine which is heel and which is face, then
Henry Hill and Happy Harold.
Exactly. So you know.
Okay.
We've got Happy Harold and we've got Healy Henry.
Yep.
Thunder obviously beat Jack Hurst to progress. Personally, I think he's one of the favourites for the TV title tournament. I think that he, having not won at Day of Reckoning, I think this could be his next step. Marky, who's your favourite?
See, I think you're right. I think you've already got it with Thunder. I think he's probably the favourite.
Okay, so Marky, why do you think that Thunder is the favourite?
I think just because he was so. It's presented as if he was going to go and win the world title at Night of Glory. Didn't win the Gateway to Glory. I think now he needs the TV title to stay looking relevant almost.
Okay, where do you see Liam Wood finishing in this tournament? Because obviously, if Liam
him out.
Pardon?
He's out, isn't he?
Is he out?
Yeah, he lost to Adamson.
My mistake, sorry.
Don't
My
even
bad.
think about editing that out.
I'm not editing that out, that was awful. Okay, we'll go on to the next match. Cassius C versus Brandon Perez. I don't think anybody expected Brandon Perez to win this, personally.
On him.
Obviously Cassius C got the win. That is right, yeah?
Well, I'm leaving you to it. Yeah, go on.
I mean,
Just checking that you've read the show.
I do read the show.
It's not this one.
Just not that
the main
match.
event,
Not that particular match, no. Okay, so yeah, Brandon Perez, I didn't expect him to win. Obviously, Cassius C, very good promo there. It was a good match, I enjoyed it. But, you know, it would have been nice to see Brandon Perez go on to the next stage and give Cassius C something else, but obviously it opens up opportunity for Liam to do something with Perez.
There's been a story being told about Perez, so there's been some underlying stuff that people might have picked up on in terms of Brandon Perez and where he's going. I hope Liam has. So when he listens to this, he can probably see that from segments there's been some stuff with a couple of other characters that is alluding to something. So. You know, I don't think it made sense for him to progress. Whereas Cassius, you know, he's such a big character star in this world that you think, you know, he was one of the ones you knew would progress.
Yep, I can agree with that. I don't read the shows, but I do see what you're doing with Brandon Perez. Obviously, there's the UK title, which seems to always end up in a massive orgy of guys wrestling. Speaking of that, we've got Aaron Heath versus Perfect Jack in the next match. Aaron Heath got the win. What was you thinking behind that? Do you see him going far in the tournament? Maybe. I mean, he promoted on a Wednesday for this tournament.
Yeah, that's why he got the win. It wasn't originally planned to win, but we have to incentivise him now. When Ed bothers, he's quite good. So
I enjoy reading an Ed Kemp promo. I always enjoy reading one.
There is scope for stuff with Ed.
Okay.
He's not a lost cause.
Not yet.
Not yet, no. If he continues with his, it's not that big a deal if Leicester win the league. You know, it happens all the time. Vitesse Arnhem once won the league in Holland, so it happens all the time. That kind of stuff. Then we might just have to send him to the sin bin permanently.
I think tensions were a little high last night. He recorded an apology this morning.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
I do know that I left Ollie in charge of him one night, so someone said it was a good job that I was a teacher. Although those are 6 and 7, so I'm not used to dealing with immaturity that low. Hey, sorry, I got something in against Ed.
Okay, there's a lot of Mr. Jones stuff on this TV title episode, but there's also a Joshua segment alluding to I believe McCoy. I wasn't around during that time. I know that he got burnt. Well, I learned that after writing him into a match, but
he only appeared in the match for like 10 minutes until I realised that you'd done it and I deleted it. really quickly.
It was on his bio. I just read it and thought, okay, I'll put that in.
And McCoy's here. What? Wait a second. What?
So, are you thinking about? Well, I don't want to ask creative. Marky, do you think that it would be a good thing for Joshua to have McCoy back?
Well, he's already like a Undertaker in terms of his pick base. Might as well have him come up with some ashes in an urn of McCoy. I think it'd be ridiculous to have McCoy too.
Francesca 2's flying though.
Well, yeah. Maybe just give Joshua a trombone.
Joshua rocks. But I can imagine him dancing. That's what we're going to do. We'll eventually write him out. We're going to give him a dancing gimmick.
The next card for Anarchy. We've already got 24 promos.
You've missed some key bits about the TV tournament.
Have I missed some key bits?
You have.
Read the show.
I've missed some key bits. I've missed Marshall Murdoch and James McManus, which I wrote.
I think we should do every match.
You always do every match.
Well, so let's start from the top. So we had the pre-show, which is the first time we've had that kind of an idea in the past.
Okay, let's go with the pre-show.
So we had a pre-show.
Okay.
Which included, one of your own guys. So I would have thought, you want to focus on Man Mountain Mike a little bit. I've listened to podcasts where I haven't been on, and you've had at least half an hour talking about him.
Okay.
On shows he hasn't appeared on.
Hikori versus Percy Percival. Whose idea was it to bring Percy Percival back?
Mine. I'm sorry. I didn't ask Marky because I just don't care about his opinion. I should. He'd want to get that flamboyant side of him out. That's why we have to bring him back every so often, so Marky can cleanse.
Marky, were you happy with his performance?
Was I happy with Percival's performance?
Yes.
No man has ever been unhappy with Percival's performance.
I'm a little bit annoyed I didn't find time to just get a promo in for him. Would have been nice, but such is real life.
He's not dead, is he, Percy? Percy, the thing with Percy is he comes out every so often.
Yeah, he's he's going to be there in that kind of Tyler Breeze role for the next year. Come out like once a month, maybe every couple of months, and lose to somebody.
He wasn't the most shocking person to suddenly appear in the tournament, anyway.
No, not like Conrad showed up out of nowhere.
I just thought we'd been talking about one of the best friends of all time, and Delroy and all that, and I thought, I miss Mike Conrad. He was such a groundbreaking character.
Speaking of Mike Conrad, he went up against Austin Stevens. Obviously, Austin Stevens went over.
Obviously, Conrad was robbed.
He came to take out the trash.
Who wrote the matches? Who wrote the matches for the pre-show, or was it all Ed?
The ones where we had different commentators, they were Ed.
Okay.
Yeah, Ed did the first one. Ed did the opening and all of that stuff about the commentators and Swans and Clark James and all the other malarkey that he decided to throw in.
All the stuff that sounded like it was probably Ed.
Yeah.
It was an excellent kickoff for the TV title, but are you going to sort of designate pre-show duties to Ed again for the next round, or are we going somewhere else with that?
I don't think we'll have a pre-show next round. I don't know. I'm not going to say that's because of the standard of the first one. No, it was this. We needed it with that one just to keep it different and to give Matt more time to write the other matches.
Yeah, logistically it was such a difficult show in terms of making sure that we could fit everything in. We did discuss whether or not we could post stuff in the week before, but then that would just mean we'd be trying to rush out matches, and because we'd already said that it would be the Monday, it would fit the normal kind of timeline, that we just thought, well, we'll have a pre-show, we'll put 3 matches in there, and then we'll have a really, really big show, but there won't be as many segments, but the segments that you will get will really push along the storylines, which I think it was a challenge to do, because it was just match, and then the odd segment, but I think it worked well. We just didn't want to take away from all of the feuds that were ongoing and the storylines we had been telling, but we did need a big show that really kicked off this TV tournament.
I enjoyed the TV tournament opening round. It was exciting. Obviously, you did have these segments that pushed story, and it worked. Man Mountain Mike had a good show. I believe he took Connor Anderson to his limit. That's just my opinion.
One man's opinion.
Well, Connor Anderson is a multi-time world champion. If you read some of the promos that JJ has done in alluding to his backstory, so it was quite a big challenge for Triple M, but and he just came up short, which is about the only short bone.
Was Connor Anderson, am I right in saying he had handcuffs on as he came to the ring?
Yes.
He could have kept them on and still won, couldn't he?
Some would say, watching Man Mountain Mike, that he probably had the same thing.
Are we going to see pre-shows before pay-per-views? Is that a thing we could possibly move towards?
It depends how big the roster gets, I imagine. What have we got, 30 odd at the moment?
I think we were at 32 on the last count. We lost one on the last show, in terms of Costello, kind of just been put on the shelf for a little bit, just to see what's happening with them. So I think that puts us down to 31 active characters.
You lost Man Mountain Mike, which makes it 30.
I didn't include him in the 32.
You should include him. This is why he goes on his rants. You just don't include him in anything.
Is that what his rant was about? I read it multiple times and I still couldn't get to the bottom of exactly what he was trying to say.
It's now one person that's read a Man Mountain Mike promo.
I read all the promos. Do you not read all the promos, Chris? Is that what you want to tell everyone now on the podcast?
Oh, any or all? What are we saying? I don't even read the ones I reply to.
Do you read the ones that you write?
Fuck knows.
So as I say,
Please don't read the back.
Connor Anderson beat Man Mountain Mike in the final match of the pre-show.
By submission as well. And the people were saying that we don't get enough submission wins.
Yep.
So we thought, what better way to finish off a guy who's 11 foot tall or whatever he is. Submission seemed like the best option.
Okay, going back to the matches that I might have missed on the actual show, we've got Marshall Murdoch versus James McManus, which I wrote. I really enjoyed writing it because it was a back and forth match. Obviously, I'm trying to think now. I can't remember. Murdoch got the win, grabbing the tights.
He did.
When you do a result like that, for example, grabbing the tights or a screw job finish, do you see it as a sort of you've lost, but we have got plans for you sort of thing, rather than you've lost?
McManus definitely has plans. I mean, he's picked up quite a few wins recently. This was only a loss against Murdoch. Murdoch he's a sneaky heel, so it was kind of a sneaky heel move. We just want to kind of introduce you to his character. It's not a lot. People might not have seen him in 6WF. And in terms of his promos and his segments, he's got a big mouth. He makes lots of claims, but maybe he's not as hard done by as he makes out. And then when it comes to matches, sometimes he's more than willing to cheat and steal his way to victory. So we had to tell that story, and McManus will go onto other things. We've got definitely got things in the pipeline for him.
I'm a big fan of heels being seen to be heels. I think I've made that point to people a few times. So I'm always a fan of the odd finish like that. Just enough that it's not so overdone, but I like, making sure we've got dirty players in the game, like Ric Flair would have you believe.
Speaking of dirty players of the game, O'Callaghan versus Lex Hart. Obviously, Lex Hart lost that match.
He cheated though.
He cheated.
O'Callaghan cheated. Lex won.
It was a heel versus heel match.
It was who could out heel the other. In a way.
It was pretty much a technical masterclass from both, I believe.
I think somebody has described that previously, but I think that somebody was you. So. It was a good match. They are two technical wrestlers. They both. Don't want to describe it as like a passing the torch kind of moment, but it was maybe Lex's time has kind of gone, and normally he would have been the one who would have been pulling the move that O'Callaghan did. So it was kind of just like that. Here's a new guy in town, kind of an idea behind the finish on that one, and then Lex can go off and do whatever he's going to do next. I think it worked well.
I think obviously with Lex Hart and Perfect Jarrett both losing their matches, obviously it gives Perfect Execution time to, maybe go towards tag team titles in the near future. I haven't seen them at the top of that tag team division at the minute, and it would be good, in my opinion, to see them at Night of Glory, possibly in a triple tag match.
Well, they are the best of all time, so it makes sense for them to be there.
The Arrows are doing what?
The what?
Wait, the Pentagon Society are doing what?
He said the best of all time, so I assumed you were talking about the Arrows.
The final match of the show was the one I got wrong. It was Max Addison versus Liam Wood.
Who won that one?
It was clearly Max Adamson.
I think we did. I'd hope that the finish was noted in that match by people and how it happened.
Yeah, it wasn't a clean win.
It was a clean win, but I wanted to be kind of adamant in a way that it was clean. There was no interference. I don't think even there was any provocation from outside. The fact is that Liam Wood lost because he had an ego, and Max Adamson. I'd like to call Max Adamson very experienced. So he took
advantage of the situation as opposed to.
He's a competitor who'll do that. You shouldn't leave those open gaps for him because he will do it.
I think
the distraction. I wouldn't say it wasn't clean, like you said, but it was a distraction, wasn't it?
It's a very, very similar situation to the Money in the Bank match between John Cena and CM Punk, when was it John Cena went and hit John Laurinaitis and then walked back into the ring and got defeated by CM Punk.
If I'm thinking that has very little relevance at this point. That point, because I'm pretty sure that Liam Wood basically turned around to taunt someone who was outside the ring who wasn't even taunting him. It's
a similar situation. There was no provocation as such. This is what I'm saying. There was no provocation as such, and Liam Wood chose to then turn his attention to the person outside the ring. That's what I'm trying to sort of imply.
I'll give you a loose strain. I'll give you that. Something charitable.
Wood was too focused on the guy outside the ring, and he didn't take consideration for the fact that there was a former world champion in the ring with him who was going to take advantage of that fact, and he did. And Adamson progressed, and Wood, who obviously put himself in the tournament because he was at that time in his mind still the TV champion, lost that opportunity because of his ego,
which is a big part of Liam Wood's character. I mean, personally, I can see this opening up a couple of avenues. It makes the main event of the next show, in my opinion, maybe a little bit up in the air, because with Robin Reborn targeting Liam Wood on this show, does that sort of mean, Max Adamson Joshua might have some legs, or, it opens up a few avenues that maybe people weren't thinking of going to the future. Going to the next show, it's a pretty big show, to be fair.
Can I just take a step back a little bit? Because I think we did skirt over match 1 a little bit with Dicey, and I think that was quite a big. It was quite a big move from Dicey in terms of what he did. I just wanted to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, that's fine. On that, I think it totally fits.
Did you expect it? Did you think that he would come out and take his place in the tournament?
I don't know what I expected, to be honest, Paul. I mean, when I looked at the tournament and when I saw that first result, I thought, are all the Extreme guys going to do this? It felt like, is that what's going to happen, or is Dicey going to, interfere later in one of the other matches? It sort of made it a bit more unpredictable. Whether I expected it or not, I don't think I expected it. I thought Dicey might have competed, but it makes sense with his character. So in that sense, it worked. I enjoyed it. It was a good little segment, and obviously Dex told me that he wrote that. So yeah, it was.
He did. I didn't really give him that much direction. I think I just told him that the basic premise is that Dicey's going to tell him to shove it up his arse.
Yeah, like I say, I think it's a good part of the show. I think it works for Dicey, and it was totally unexpected. So, in my opinion, it was a brilliant addition. Marky?
I think it was deliberate to try and make you think whether or not the other guys would do the same. But then now you can see that all of the competitors from the Extreme match have reacted very, very differently to what happened. So Dicey's obviously now blaming Jones directly, and he's kind of seeing the bigger picture almost, and saying, this is my 6CW. What the hell are you doing to it? Cerberus is just continuing with just trying to kill everyone, really, whilst wearing a onesie or whatever it was that he was wearing.
Yep. An Angle.
An Engle's just gone corporate. He's now embracing the side of him that he felt was always there, but nobody was willing to see. So now he thinks this is his chance. He's going to become the man.
Do you mind if I ask a question about that?
Go on then.
Was the plan for Dicey to take out his frustration on Mr. Jones, or was that kind of led a bit by Deck's actual reaction?
I think we possibly used the reaction to actually thinking that it would work quite well if we then gave him the chance to write the part. I think that was used, but otherwise I think we had plans, unsurprisingly, which may have been stated at the time, that we did have plans for what was going to happen due to that tournament. I mean, the title, etc., going to pop and being replaced, and I think people can see where we were going and why we made that decision. Starting to see, anyway.
I think.
Is that fair, Paul? By the way, because I know that I sometimes speak without thinking.
Yeah, no, I agree. We had definite plans for each character, as we're telling now. The reactions from everyone has kind of helped, and then once we've explained, I think we've taken the time to explain to most people involved what our initial thinking is, and kind of run with that. So yeah, no, I agree.
So now you've brought this up. Obviously, the TV title tournament has been a great opportunity for you guys to see how people can adapt to different opponents, different rivalries. Have you seen any potential rivalries for the future out of that? Obviously, you can't sort of name names, but just a confirmation.
I think it was a good way. So we obviously mapped out a story that we would like to tell to Night of Glory, and then onwards to Beachfront, etc. But this is definitely a good way for us to kind of just say to everyone, right, this is not a fresh start, but this is your chance to really show us what you can do, because everyone has an opportunity at this stage. So yeah, I think there's definitely been people who have kind of taken our eye, and we also have an idea now of people that we may be put together that we hadn't thought about in the past. I think that's fair to say. Do you agree, Chris?
Oh, 100%. I think it's quite fun as well to have that chance to just go and kind of throw something out there completely. I think sometimes when you've got middle of the feuds and you've got matches when you're going up against someone you've not gone up against, there's less impetus, because you know maybe in the end of the road it's actually probably not the most important thing in that what you're doing, your character's doing at the time. But when you've got a tournament like that, then really why did no one, well, I, except for maybe a couple of slightly obvious jobbers, no one really knew who was going to win what match. So there was every reason for you to promo very well. And whilst sometimes maybe the promo who was best of the two might not have won the match, it then gives kind of a future positives, I suppose is the way to look at it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Marky, did you enjoy working with Liam Wood? And obviously you've spoke about you'd like your next opponent to be Engel. Are you looking forward to having all these different opponents to be able to promo against?
Well, yeah, definitely. Just get that out there. Of course I am. The more people that you come up against, and I'm just wondering if there's going to be a kind of... There's a lot of history with some newer characters that have come in, such as Cameron Faith and Cassius and Marshall, who kind of got history with Adamson as well. There's a lot of, I would say new, but also old rivalry to get into,
It also presents a challenge for us, because we've always discussed in the past when WF and 6CW were running together, and there was that idea at one time where we would kind of merge the two again and see how we could work it. And the challenge was that there were people who had the same character in each fed and some histories and kind of feuds. Would they make sense if you tried to tell the story once everything merged together? So it's trying to work out whether or not we not ignore feuds in the past, but maybe just not make as much reference to them.
I can't wait for the Max Adamson invasion.
Well, no, just to back that point up, it's like how, I don't want to go on about it, but Adamson was 6CW and 6CW world champion at the same time.
I don't know what the hell we do about that.
Yeah, and Lex was involved in both in parallel. He's had feuds with Cameron Faith and various other WF stars. It's just how much of that we actually use. We've alluded a little bit to the Jessica stuff, which I think makes sense. With Cassius coming across, you need to tell that story because that's such a big part of their history. But there's some bits and pieces that we might leave alone. Faith and Hill had a massive feud in 6WF. Is that something that we want to look into, or do we just kind of smooth over that and concentrate on stuff moving forward rather than looking back? It's a challenge, and not for Chris because he doesn't know any of that stuff that happened. So it's good because he can just have that blank canvas and he can just look, I think this will work, and then we can say, well, they would have had a history. Should we investigate that, or how do we write it? And there's also the challenge: do we completely not try and put people together because there is that fear then that stuff from the past gets pulled up, and you're almost just retelling stories from 60 you want to do.
Well, that kind of, I suppose the only thing I could compare it to would be if WWE started referencing Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, for example, as former enemies. So they had obviously a big history in TNA, and they're never going to mention it. They just pretend that they just never knew each other or something.
Yeah, I mean, what is quite nice is when I get I get to kind of hear these things, and I can just go, well, you know, you can always just mention. It doesn't ever have to. Sometimes, you know, it doesn't have to just be the be all and end all. You can just have that kind of segment backstage where there's tension, and it's just a nice nod to say, you know,
to a bit of history without having to put it in your face, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I don't think that we should then, completely forget about the rivalries of the company and people who have those back and forth histories, etc. I think it's always worth having in mind, and may or may not come up in the future. But I think no one would complain if it didn't. But I think people would also, probably be just as happy as well if it did. I think that's the nice part of it, really.
Yeah, I don't think, for example, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Cassius came back to reignite the old feuds with Lex Hart. I think the obviously throw against new people and have new rivalries.
Just talking about the structure of the tournament. Obviously, this week we have the draw for the next round. So the next round, is that going to take place? Is that going to take place next week? Is that going to be the next card?
There will be. I don't think there's any spoilers at this point. I think there will be TV title matches in the show after.
Okay, and
we've not got a great deal of time. We have to throw them in somewhere.
Is there a plan to have just the final at Night of Glory, or are you going to have semi-final matches and a final, or sort of like the old King of the Ring structure, or is it going to be more like
Night of Glory is still always up for discussion, and things that go on there, and also always under wraps until things are released.
Okay.
And bear in mind that on a I wouldn't say daily but weekly occurrence, we have to remind ourselves how many shows there are until Night of Glory, because we keep forgetting.
As I've asked recently, I don't know when it is.
No, nor do I.
July, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah, I think we've got, after this show there's four more Anarchies. So I think we said that after the pay-per-view there were 6.
I think there was 7 in between.
6 and an aftermath, isn't it? So
yes.
So that'd be 7. So in that basis we would have 5 more. Was the TV tournament one an aftermath? Now you can see the kind of conversations we have on a weekly basis.
I'm thinking we had show 1 aftermath, show 2 last week, Monday's show 3.
So we've still got 4 more.
So you've got 2, 3, 4. You've got 4 more Anarchies after this one.
Yeah.
4 more.
Yeah.
I've got that outline that I have in my head. So.
Yeah, and I've got those the music to look at as well.
Yeah.
I have listened to it. Me and my wife sat there and listened to all the songs.
Your poor wife. Your poor wife.
I didn't tell her why we were doing it. I was like, what do you think of this song? What do you think of this song?
Absolutely love absolutely love the official Night of Glory theme, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
I picked that, didn't I, Chris? That was just all me.
Yeah. There's a song on there that you picked that we have to use.
You really, that one one that I picked that I said I'm going to use for this particular match, you liked?
Yeah. I mean, I don't sit and listen to it all the time, but it definitely suits. I mean, I have an idea in my head for all of them, but then generally, also the problem with picking too early is what if something changes as well? And then I go, pardon?
What if something new comes out that fits?
Yeah. I mean, none of us listen to the radio, so if something new comes out, it's already came out about 3 or 4 months ago at least. Because none of us.
When Taylor Swift brings out a new song, and you're like, "That's perfect for Liam Wood's match."
Do you know what? I was doing something the other day, and I listened to a Wolfmother song, and then reminded me of a Stereophonics song, and I thought both of them could work for something.
Well, Liam's already planned his entrance for Night of Glory.
He's planned and had to replan because of because of commitments in other matches.
Creative differences, we'll say.
Yeah, no, he understood perfectly fine, and he was almost just unlucky, really, more than anything.
And also it's quite a long way till Night of Glory, and there is quite a lot of stuff that will probably change between now and then. So from Liam's perspective, it's probably, you know, he may get an idea after seeing the final Anarchy of exactly what he wants to do. So I think that was the advice that we gave him. But yeah, it's a good idea. We've also got this idea for something else, so maybe have a think on it and get back to us. I think that's the same with the music as well. We've got a rough outline in terms of the card and the music, 2 or 3 kind of examples of things that we might want to use, but who's to know what might happen in the next few weeks.
Okay. Let's talk about the next match card then. It's looking like it's going to be a big card. We've already got 24 promos on there. I think me and Chris took up about 8 of them. Really enjoyed that little back and forth we had. It was Robin Reborn versus Angle Harlequin, obviously.
Yeah, it was nice. It's nice to get some back and forths in.
It's a big match for Angle. Probably not so big for Robin Reborn. Obviously, he's going for a Night of Glory main event. So this is pretty much a warm-up match for him.
Well, what we do need is, if he's going for that Night of Glory main event, is to make sure that the next few weeks aren't boring for him, because otherwise no one really wants him there. Well, not so much that, but you know, you can't just drag it out and say, oh, this is happening, screw it. So we've got that in mind, that also he needs to have interesting things happening.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it'll be it's a big test for Angle, and obviously, like you said in the Facebook chat, it's a treat for me in terms of actually being able to promo.
Going up against one of the best, obviously.
Well.
No, is that Tumbleweed? Okay.
Right.
And from a storyline perspective, you have to think about, why has that match been made? If you think about it in terms of, you know, Jones or somebody for Jones is making the match cards, why has that one been picked in particular? You know.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think this whole corporate Angle thing, it gives you guys a lot of stuff to work with, because obviously it was sort of my idea to do it. So in terms of who is Angle working for, is he working for anyone, or is he just doing it because he saw a suit in a shop? You know, we might not ever know, but it gives you a sort of bit of stuff to work with.
Yeah, definitely.
I was just going to ask, the Joshua Adamson match, obviously, it's only happening on this show because of what I mentioned about the day of the title reign.
You tell yourself that if you want.
Well, no, without giving the ending away, obviously. Is it something that was actually planned to have a defence anyway for Joshua?
I think we were aware of the dates anyway. Well, I definitely was. So there was definitely a plan to have a title match in the main event. From what you mentioned, obviously, you know, yeah, we know that Adamson holds the longest reign currently, and if you bear in mind, he's just beaten the EWF champion. Yeah. So you could argue that he kind of deserves this shot. And if you think about, you know, what Jones said to Joshua in the last show about kind of giving him an opportunity to teach somebody a lesson, then you know this is what he's doing, and he thinks that, you know, Adamson kind of doesn't deserve the status that maybe he's got over the years, so he wants to show what a real champion looks like.
I think Max Adamson versus Joshua is one of them matches where it could go the logical storytelling way of Joshua goes over, everything's back to normal. But there's also that other side where Max Adamson could win and the tension between Jones and Joshua could just reach breaking point. So because of that tension at the moment, you know, it could work. It could work either way, and I think that's testament to you guys. Obviously, has Deck joined us?
I have indeed.
Hello, Deck. You all right, mate?
Afternoon, evening, good night.
Finally, what time's it there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Deck. We were just talking about the Joshua versus Max Adamson match on the next card. I was just saying that because obviously Joshua is obviously the champion now, going into Night of Glory, there's two ways it could go. The logical way is obviously he could win, but with all the tension between Jones and Joshua, obviously Max Adamson could win and cause that tension to just sort of go boom.
Max doesn't win himself with the V2 today.
Yeah, we spoke about Dicey obviously getting involved in that match. That could be an interesting point.
Yeah, could be. Up to us.
I spoke about if that happened, maybe we could see Joshua versus Dicey in the main event. Which I think not in the main event, sorry, just at Night of Glory. But I think that could
be fun. I don't think I've promoed against Twist, and I don't think I ever have properly. That'd be a bit of fun.
Paul?
I think I caught up on the V2 thread earlier on, and there's been a lot of discussion on it, and a lot of good ideas being pitched that any of them could make sense as to in terms of how this match goes. It's good to see that there's a lot of discussion about it. It's a sign that, you know, we've got everyone talking and they're enjoying the match cards. So I think it'll be good to see how we decide to finish this one.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Obviously, Dice.
You know, as we've shown in the past, we'll make decisions on these kind of matches quite late on. We'll take a lot of things into consideration. So you know, there's lots of possibilities.
Obviously, earlier in the card, Dicey's got a match against Cassius and Marshall Murdoch. Paul, do you see that as sort of like a punishment from Jones?
Definitely.
Yeah.
He came out and told him to shove his tournament up his arse. So, you know, I think Jones will not be happy with the reaction that he got. Cassius and Marshall, whilst not specifically being working for Jones, he definitely sees them as people he can use to inflict pain on Dicey. So yeah, definitely punishment.
We've got the 6CW tag team titles on the line. Jeff Steele and Mike Hill versus Austin Stevens and Akori. I think this is like the first tag team title match in a long time that's actually been 2-on-2. I mean, I alluded to obviously wanting to write it because I'd been a part of the tag team title run for a while. Obviously, we can't talk about where that's going, but you know, I'm looking forward to writing that match. I've started writing it, but I think it's going to be one of those matches where everyone's going to be like, you know, Jeff Steele and Mike Hill retain. But I think there'll be a few others that say Austin Stevens and Akori, you know, get the titles back in a 2-on-2 situation. When this match card came about, did you actually see it as being part of this match card, or were you going to move it on to we're going to do it earlier on in the month?
No, definitely always been a plan to have it as a match on this card. We've got ideas in terms of where the tag division goes towards for Night of Glory, so this match is needed for that.
Okay.
As a betting man, I think that Steel and Hill retain and move on to something else, but then what that something else is, I think we're all quite excited to see what it could be.
Personally, I'd like to see Perfect Execution involved in that.
Of course.
Of course. You've also got a big match, match 7 on the card, Cerberus and Crime Lord versus Jimmy Phillips and Aaron Heath. Whose idea was it to put Cerberus and Crime Lord together, and could this be something that we see more of?
In terms of putting them together,
yeah.
Would we see more of it?
Yeah.
I don't think that they're a perfect fit. I think they fit the situation that the match calls for, but I'm not sure if we would see them working together moving forward. I can't see them working together particularly well in this combination. They don't strike me as people that work in a team particularly well. But we'll wait and see. I think obviously Phillips is a Jones guy. Heath has been involved with Kramer and Jones a little bit, so you could say that it's Jones's way of kind of picking on two guys that he thinks have been working against him recently, possibly.
Yeah, Deck, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, a good match. I don't see the two of them staying together long. They're too much of lone wolves to be thrown in together. Especially Cerberus. I think he's a monster, a proper monster.
He just wants to be on his own and left alone, doesn't he?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Until Angle starts weaving his webs again.
Well, I sent him a tweet the other day saying I missed him. He didn't respond, so Okay, we'll go on to the questions. Marky, you posed a very weird question. Who would win a fight between one Roberto Martinez-sized swan and 100 swan-sized Roberto Martinez's? Who wants to go there?
I don't know, but whoever lost would probably convince you that they were the winner anyway, because that's very much the way that Martinez works. He'd confuse you with his words, and you'd be convinced that he was the winner.
I think whatever happened, I think Ed would blame Leicester anyway. So.
Yeah, I think Ed would certainly bring up Leicester and their unfairy tale like rise to glory. What would need to happen for you to wear an item from the official Amazing Anthony Grace clothing range?
I think if you made a jockstrap, that'd be perfect.
Cameron Faith could wear that.
I
think if you made it for men.
I think personally, Liam Wood needs to get on this. I mean, he's done a Eva effing Marie 6CW shit. I think he needs to do some stuff like this.
Well,
he Grace's actual design.
I've spoken to Liam about doing it before. I said that with all the behind the curtain stuff that we've done, it would be good if we could have like some official merchandise, and he can upload designs onto this shirt design place, and you just kind of place your order, and he'll get a percentage, I think, of whatever we buy. So there is an option there. If people want to start having merchandise designed for them, then he can do a design, and then you can buy it.
Well, I suggested it to Liam for the SummerSlam I want an Engel shirt, and I'm just waiting for him to get back to me on that.
Well, I put in a request for a Lex one a long time ago, and I I need him to do a Lex Hart one.
Okay. Dicey, what do you think? Dicey merchandise?
A ripped T-shirt,
Ripped T-shirt.
puke stain down the front of it. That's it, really.
His latest catchphrase on the back.
Fuck Jones.
Yep.
That's the one. The
Yeah.
T-shirt he wore out in the last promo he did.
I think Max Adamson has got some sort of hidden merchandise income stream coming in because he seems to be earning a lot more than any of us.
I think that's just 8 years of being a wrestler. I was just going to ask, how do you go back to the Dicey Riley merchandise, how do you make merchandise for a former prostitute?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Needs to be easy access.
Yeah. Crotchless.
Yeah.
Cut a hole in both ends of the jeans, you're happy, you know, everyone's happy.
If Liam Wood doesn't do a T-shirt with Got Wood on it, then he might as well just fucking give up.
Okay, I think I've answered a couple of Liam's questions before on previous podcasts. I think you have as well, Paul, but we'll go there anyway. What has been your career highlight as an E-Fedder? That's to everyone.
Probably coming back from the dead.
Yeah.
Who gets to do that?
Marky, what's your career highlight?
Sorry?
What's your career highlight, Marky?
I mentioned it earlier. I think there's nothing that's going to beat being 6W and 60W World Champion at the same time. I think that's pretty much as good as you're going to get.
That's a lot of house shows.
Well, yeah, there is no higher step from there, is there?
I think personally, I am actually looking forward to taking on Max Adamson in this tournament because it would be an easy win because his body's obviously fucked.
Especially his arse.
Paul, what's your career highlight as an E-Fedder?
In terms of being a wrestler or as
Well, it says career highlight, so you know we can go wherever you want to go with that.
Few answers.
in terms of Lex, it would probably be the Genesis reveal and the storyline that went from there, back in the 60W days, turning it back on Dicey and the Pink Potatoes, was a particular highlight of mine.
Still hurts.
Declan has still not forgiven you.
In terms of the Fed head, I think it's just getting 60W back up and running and seeing what it's become now. You know, seeing as the discussions that me and Dubs had 3 or whatever a bit years ago, to see where we are now is amazing.
Okay, so guys, is there anything new that you regret in your career, or something that you wish you knew earlier?
Coming back from the dead.
Is that answer to both, Dick?
I did when I was talking to Beer about it, but then when we actually did it, fucking mind-boggling. But it worked.
Came back as twice the size as well. That was quite impressive.
Twice the size, and then the next week shrinking again. It was great.
I'll answer this one. My biggest regret in my career is Man Mountain Mike. And in terms of wishing I'd known earlier, the reaction I would get to Man Mountain Mike.
What was your highlight?
My highlight, to be honest, I've not been around enough to actually have a proper highlight, but I have answered this question before. Engel's Aftermath, just Engel running the show was something that I enjoyed doing, like as a writer. but in terms of actual career highlights for Engel, he keeps getting sent to. He keeps getting sent to Cherry Falls every few months. So, you know, this is his longest stint, and he's staying. So, I'm hoping for some in the next few years.
Was the highlight not when he got called Bozo the Clown?
You've never been forgiven for that.
I'm waiting to find the right time to write it in again.
I'm looking forward to Engel versus Lex somewhere down the line.
If I ever need Lex killing off, then I'm sure there'll be lots and lots of people lining up to do the job.
Scorpion.
I'm not saying a retirement match or anything like that. I just want a one-on-one with Lex Hart.
Okay.
Yeah?
I'll pencil it in.
Pencil it in. Put it in your diaries. How do you feel 6CW as a Fed and as a community differs from before the shutdown and since the rebirth?
There's more people on for one.
The old 6CW website was just horrible to use as well, which didn't help.
I don't think it was horrible. I just think it didn't get the attention it deserved. I think the problem was that a lot of people would promo in one area, like obviously the 606v2 website, and then others would promo there, so you didn't actually know if you were involved in a back and forth or not sometimes. And it happened when the original 606 was running as well. Some people are promo here, some people promo there. So you know, we spoke about having a separate site. I think we've all agreed it probably wouldn't work. But you know, for me, how it's changed, I think, like you say, there's a lot more people active. I think the storylines are good. I think that there's a lot of passion involved in the people that run it, and it's all good. I think it's going in the right direction. I think it'll go in that right direction for years to come.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. Hopefully I think the key is that we're fortnightly, which could mean that people could get bored and wonder when the show's coming. So it's all about doing extra stuff and making sure that everyone's really excited about the next show and they want to keep discussing stuff. You don't want people just turning up on a Monday every fortnight waiting for the show. So hopefully we do all the other content just adds so much to the Fed, and that's kind of why everyone is so enthused and wants to hang around more. And I think the fact that we're on V2 and there's other bits and pieces you can go off and chat about and then come back and pick up on some conversation, you know, ask somebody what they've had for lunch, the question of the day really helps. You know, all that kind of stuff is good. Makes it easier for us, because if it's just on the creative team to keep things ticking over all the time, it can get really tiresome, and that's, if we're not around, you need other people to keep things going. And I think there's enough core people that they just want it to succeed, and they want the chat to be there, and they want to enjoy it, and the Facebook chat helps, and everyone's just become more of a community.
Yeah, I could agree with that. What about you, Dick?
Yeah, the community element of it is much better, especially the Facebook chat. Like, who doesn't want to know what Ed gets up to 24/7?
I think this is probably the longest time I've actually been away from the Facebook chat. I did say we'd have some live questions, but I just haven't been following it, so I don't know if there's anything on there.
We've actually got a lot about, to be fair.
Pardon?
I think we've actually had quite a lot to talk about. If we're on the Facebook chat, it's because we've run out of material.
Yep.
With questions on it that we haven't even gone through yet.
No, there's no questions on there anyway.
Marky, are you really sat in Asda car park using 3G, or have you gone home now?
No, I'm still in the car park. I
there
went
aren't
out.
any staff coming over and trying to shoot you out.
No. Well, no, I went out to watch Man City Real Madrid, and I'm still in the car at 9:30. So, there you go.
So that didn't happen then.
Luckily, it's 0-0, and I've missed nothing.
Is Stan Collymore in that car park?
Yes, he is. He's big
Flashing his lights on and off towards, is he?
Big up Swedish women.
Okay, so Liam wants us to discuss the contract information, mainly Marky and Deck. What was your initial reaction when you saw it?
Didn't even know Dicey got paid. he got paid in bottles of Jack Daniels.
Covers the bar tabs.
I mean, Marky, obviously, you're one of the highest earners up there.
Well, when I saw it, I thought obviously I don't think he's the highest earner. I don't think he's the highest earning wrestler. I think someone like Joshua would be. It's undisclosed, but would probably be on more money. What I thought was maybe that he's try and compare 6CW to like WWE or something, for example. See who's actually in that kind of John Cena role as like that big earner who probably doesn't deserve it, and that's Max Adamson.
Okay.
You could also make the assumption that at one time Max was very much in favour with the authority as it was then, and so he probably would have been rewarded as champion, and he's still reaping the benefits of that contract.
Quite possibly. I think you're right there. Was he right? You came up with it.
I think.
I think that's it. I think that's probably it in a nutshell. When he was corporate champion, essentially.
I think
He's
Liam.
been around long enough as well to take care of himself. He knows how to play the game. So if anyone's going to be kind of taking the largest slice, it's probably going to be Max. That was my thinking behind it.
What's in the starting packages?
The starting package is just kind of your basic minimum wage, cost of living kind of stuff.
We agreed that it was an hourly rate, which is why Engel promos so much, because he earns by the hour.
Well, I have the best hourly rate by doing one promo a fortnight.
How does Ed survive? That's what I want to know.
He gets triple time for Sunday rates.
While we're on the subject of finances, Paul, Liam did want us to discuss the whole inside workings of 6CW in terms of like income, etc. Is that something that you would release on 606, or is it maybe a step too far?
It depends what he would be looking to see. I think what we released in terms of the contracts gave quite a lot of information. It showed you what Jones pays himself, what Kramer gets paid, which is a ludicrous amount for what he does. But if anyone works with consultants, then you know that they probably get paid far too much and don't do very much at all. So there is other things that we can release. I've got a few things up my sleeve that will trickle out. That sounded really weird.
You're the car park with Marky, yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely other things that we need to show. There was a lot of hidden, not hidden messages, but bits and pieces that people might not understand in the contract stuff. That over time, people will start to understand.
Yeah, okay. Liam's next question is, if you could create an all-time spectacular card, what are some of the matches you'd put on it to showcase the best from back in the day versus the best that we have now in terms of promo and character?
That's a big question.
He actually put the big one beforehand.
that would take some serious thought, and probably I don't know if we've got enough time on the podcast to consider all our options.
I think everyone throw out one match.
I'd have Joshua versus Midian.
That would be pretty brutal.
Paul?
I'd do Joshua versus Mr. Crowley in a Ribena on a pole match.
Marky?
Well, as much as I'd love to do Max Adamson versus Max Adamson, I think that just shows how long I've been doing this. I think the Liam Wood v Hero one was the one that stood out for me.
That was mentioned in the 606 chat, wasn't it?
Like me. I'm claiming it. I did it.
Come on, I don't read the shows. I'm not going to read who wrote each question, each topic. Okay. If I were going to go there, I'd probably say I'd probably like to see Joshua versus Cerberus. So obviously Cerberus was around back in the old days when he was Circus of Horrors sort of lackey. Obviously he's come on a lot since then, and I think I'd like to see Joshua versus Cerberus, two big monster guys. Could be a passing of the torch moment.
I'm going to throw one more out there. JJ Johnson and Anthony Grace.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
The old JJ, more nothing against Steve, but the old one, the 6WF one. Well, it was just more edge as well.
I think we've alluded to a potential feud between them in the past. I think when JJ was around and Grace was just starting, we showed that there was some friction because of their Hollywood interests. So it's definitely something that if JJ ever came back full time with that character, that we could explore. I was thinking that it would be interesting to try kind of in terms of from a promo perspective, in terms of size and scale from their time in the Feds, and I would say if you could do, say, JJ versus Dicey versus Cassius versus Max in like a 4-way kind of match, that would be huge.
In terms of promo, that would be huge. I mean, you know, I've read some of Cassius' promos and they're really good. I was pretty new to his work. I think having a big multi-man match would probably be the best thing about having a spectacular show between old versus new guys. I think, could it be done? You know, we've got quite a few of the older guys here now. Maybe down the line.
We got 3 of those 4 in.
Yeah.
So that's exciting with the Dicey and Cassius thing. I know it's a handicap match and it's to punish Dicey, but would you mind seeing more of that down the line, Dicey and Cassius?
Yeah, very enjoying promo. It's the first time I've ever promoted against them, and I was in 6CW for years as well. So it's very interesting. He comes up with some good stuff.
I think Demon's just hit the ground running though, isn't he? Obviously, in terms of our position, we had slight worries. We just weren't 100% sure when we first started, just in case, you know, that he wasn't able to kind of stick around for whatever reasons. But I think any fears that we might have had have been put to bed fairly quickly, and he's just shown how great a promo and a person he is to have around. So it's been really enjoyable seeing the stuff that he's been doing.
Okay, who's better?
Him to be no V2 chat. What's it?
Who's better, Oliver or Bull?
I didn't hear the question, sorry.
Who's better, Oliver or Bull?
Ollie or Bull?
Yep.
Considering Ollie's actually, he's around a lot more, I've got to say Ollie.
better or
Yeah,
what?
Ollie's definitely thrown himself in more. Bull asked to come back, so it's all been pitched by him. But we're just trying to exactly nail down the ideas that he wants to go with, because it's a bit Mark Matzko-esque at the moment.
Oh, that's what I should have come for this show, Matko.
Well, yeah, any kind of 60W Super Show wouldn't be anything without Matzko.
Or Yarmouth Blade. Do you think Jimmy Phillips can ever live up to the talent nickname?
If he becomes Gazzy D.
Where he takes off the mask in a Scooby-Doo type finish.
Just like Ed's going to do with Mr. Kenty.
Obviously that was from Gazzy. We've got another one from him. If Gazzy was to return for one more match, would you rather have him against a new promising starlet, a main eventer, or a bona fide Hall of Famer?
It'd have to be Joshua, wouldn't it? He'd practically retire him.
Yeah, I can see that.
See, we mentioned something on the previous podcast about this, and Gazzy brought it up in the podcast chat. I'm calling Gazzy D out. we had a storyline going, and then it sort of just faded away because obviously I disappeared. So Engel Harlequin, none of these promising starlet main eventer Hall of Famer bollocks. Engel Harlequin.
He's definitely not a Hall of Famer.
Not yet. On a scale of 1 to 10, how disappointed would you be if you were on MasterChef and Greg Wallace offered you a game bird only to bring out a partridge?
Who the fuck's that question from?
Nay.
Ollie? No.
I think he spends far too much time on the golf course on his own thinking about these questions.
Crazy goal.
Drinking too much iron brew. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They might carry your racism.
I think I'd be probably about an 8 on that scale.
I wouldn't. It might be 0. I wouldn't care.
I think based on the fact that you'd be on BBC One before the Watershed, if you're expecting anything else, you're on the wrong show. If you're on a Channel 5 special at 11 o'clock and they offered you a game bird, then probably you get one of Wayne Rooney's exes come out.
Nando asks if you were in charge of creative, Paul, I don't think this is for you, who would you have in the main...
Chris is in charge of creative, so that's fine. I can answer this one.
Okay. If you're in charge of creative, who would you have in the main title scene?
I probably wouldn't change it that much, if at all.
In terms of promo, I don't think I would. I think Joshua, Twist has got it down to a T with Joshua.
Maybe swap Grace Joshua over. But
I was about to say that.
I think people have said in the past, haven't they, that they would have expected Grace could have possibly been champion by now if it wasn't for the fact that Twist already had Joshua as champion.
Yeah, I think I put that point across last time I was on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think maybe not deliberately, but it'd be a bit, especially when you've got 30 active characters. Is it 30 promos or 30 characters?
30 characters.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of, maybe 20 different active promos to have 2 world titles held by the same person would be a bit demoralising. I don't know, because people aspire to be one of these champions, don't they?
I can see what you're saying.
Sorry?
Hello. Okay, another one from Fernando. Should Ed be released?
cry into the wild.
I don't know what context that means, to be fair, but if we say we're letting him go from 6CW, should Ed be released?
All the best on his future endeavours.
He'll be released due to his tolerance that he's built up. I think Aaron Heath should be released and Mr. Kenty hired.
Mr.
That's
Kenty.
slightly awkward.
I think we keep bringing this up to Ed, and he keeps saying no. He'll get the hint eventually.
No, I said no.
You did.
Sure.
Hello. Yeah, you did. But obviously, there's been a bit of a call for Kenty to come back. Could you not see that?
Yeah, Kenty was a great character, and we did try and get Ed to come back into 6CW as Kenty for quite some time, but then Ed suggested that he came back with a brand new character, and he let Kenty kind of take a breather for a while. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah. This is a weird one. Would you like to see people that aren't being promoted for gone, e.g. Tyson Armstrong?
Tyson Armstrong is gone. Got thrown off the stage.
I don't know if that was an example as in the vein of, or
Made the damn shows.
It kind of happened with Costello, didn't it? Obviously, wanted to keep it going for as long in case M came back, but the sounds of it,
Yeah.
that's it. Put a stop to it.
I think
Sometimes it's dependent on the character and the person promoting for them, and if you know that, Costello's history was such that we gave him a little bit longer than we maybe would to other people. But yeah, I'd say that he's been put on the sideline, not forever, because I would imagine that M will come back at some point, because he really does enjoy this, but we can't keep him ticking over forever, because he was still involved in quite big storylines, and it wasn't fair to other people if he was still getting those stories and he wasn't around.
I think from that perspective, you have to sort of think, well, we've got storylines running where these characters are involved, so we can't just write them out because it ruins what you've got planned. Down the line, to be able to get rid of them and focus more on people that can back and forth and can promo against each other, it's not going to affect the quantity of the promos because the people that are promoing are already there. So, I think it is an option to look at, like down the line after say a whole pay-per-view of not having somebody promo.
Yeah, I don't think there are any at the moment. Any people, Costello aside, who are still involved and the promo isn't active.
And Scorpion getting thrown off the stage.
Say that again, Dick.
There's been Scorpion getting thrown off the stage.
Well, you had that opportunity, Dick, but you walked out.
Yeah, pussy though. He's too much of a man for me.
We're gonna make him come down the ramp on his chopper and accidentally take a wrong turn and just fly off the stage.
Should have him coming out confused with his chopper out. See what happens.
Well, unless someone writes spike in brackets, you presume it means his penis.
Yeah, that. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to put out for Dicey?
11.
Definitely 11.
Yeah, I'd say 11.
Just wish my wife would say 11.
No, she says 12.
Oh, she is 12.
From the amount of children you have, it's probably worrying just to be in the same room as you that you might impregnate her. So she probably doesn't want to take her chances anymore.
Yeah, but that was 5 years ago.
Nay asks, do you think there will ever be a 6CW party weekend in, say, Edinburgh? Before we go on to that, obviously we've got the SummerSlam meet going down. We're meeting in London because there's quite a few people in London wanting to come. It's not a case of we think, oh, screw everyone up north or screw everyone in Ireland or anything like that. Pardon?
That is what it is, though, isn't it?
Not while Dex here.
I'll just go to the toilet when you talk about this and cry.
But no, I think there's scope for 6CW meets wherever. I mean, I've said to Deck that I'd like to come over, and everyone's more than welcome. I think to actually arrange something where everyone's off work and everyone isn't on holiday with the families and things like that, it's got to be quite difficult. But I'd say Edinburgh, quite an easy place to get to. I can't see that being an issue one day. That's my opinion.
I find it hard to justify going to London for one night away from the family.
Yep.
Yeah.
Family issues, obviously.
Just financial.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say never. But it depends on how many people can get there.
Yeah.
Start one of those GoFundMe things, and people can just sponsor us to go to these places.
These pay-per-view parties, they actually do the big four pay-per-views. So they've got Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and SummerSlam. So they're all across the country. So there is scope for, if nobody from London wants to go to one, we could make it somewhere closer to everybody else. It's all up in the air in terms of arranging an actual meet-up. I know Paul's in Portugal for the SummerSlam one.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Otherwise, I would have been there, but unfortunately, my wife has refused my request to reschedule our holiday.
I'm actually going away about 4 days after the SummerSlam meet, so another reason money might come into it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm lucky I'll be there because I won't have to pay for travel because my job will already cover that.
Well, it'd be great to have you there. I'll buy you a few drinks.
Alright, and that's a verbal contract. Thank you very much.
Rather you than me, based on the amount that you were drinking the other night on the free bar.
I said a few.
Yeah, a few on the free bar. Kind of have to. I mean, I don't have to, but you have to.
Feel obligated.
Yeah, this is no exaggeration. I've been in this job 5-6 weeks, and I was drinking whiskey with orange peel and brown sugar with my boss's boss's boss.
Oh, that's very nice.
It was alright.
I enjoy things like that. Okay, so who do you see as potential ideal feuds for Cameron Faith in the coming months?
Who posted that question?
Nay.
Say heroin addiction.
I think I know that Nay's probably looking for some new feuds, but I think Cameron Faith and James McManus would be a great feud short term.
Yeah, I could see that. I think the whole UK title picture, there's quite a few competitors in there, so this scope for quite a few little rivalries in the coming months, to be fair. If Ed was to stop promoting on Sundays and actually get involved in back and forths, that might be a good little rivalry going on.
Just wouldn't they? with see Heath winning it and then Faith cashing in.
Yeah, Faith kept stealing it from Ed, so that is a rivalry that I'd like to see. But obviously, it does rely on a bit of back and forth going on in the promos. Paul, potential opponents for Faith.
Well, I know the opponent for Faith.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I could lie here, or I could tell the truth and you not know if it's a lie.
Do a red herring.
Man Mountain Mike.
Yes.
Now tell us the red herring.
Dylan, is it Dylan the bad guy? We'll bring him back.
Dylan the bad guy out of this. He's won 1.5 championships, I'll have you know.
Declan, have you got anything to add to that question?
Steve Sharona.
Declan, have you got anything to add to that question?
Him against Ed would be good, but Ed's just not going to pull his finger out of his arse anytime soon, so... Say, McManus, you have to...
Yeah, McManus, go back to that, yeah.
6WF connection as well, so...
Well, I think he's the perfect candidate for the UK Championship based on how traditionally British his background is.
Yep, we can go there. Yeah, I agree. I think
It's definitely logic that makes sense.
I think if you look,
I must be drunk or something.
After weeks, I think this is directed at me and Deck, to be honest. After weeks of shows since the last pay-per-view, are you still disappointed with the Extreme title ending with it seemingly petering out to nothing? I think this is ground that keeps getting brought back up. That we've
asked that question.
That was Nando. I think that it's ground that we've walked on so many times now, and I think me and Deck have both agreed. It was spur of the moment. It's all good. It's all fine now. TV title, great.
Well, my point of view is, we write the stories to provoke a reaction. Whatever that reaction from you guys is, that's your opinion at the time. That's fine. We don't take it personally, and that's why we write these shows, because we want a reaction from you. But we know that even if it seems we're going to do something that you're not going to enjoy, we know what our plan is, and we had faith that you would all enjoy what was to come. So I don't blame your reaction at all, because that's how, if I was involved in that story and the match got cut short as it did, I would be disappointed as well. But I knew what was coming, so obviously I had that the hindsight that you have now.
Okay, some questions from Liam Wood. He wants to ask about himself. So,
that's a shock, a surprise.
What do you think of Wood since the heel turn? And I did not know this had happened. This is why I got mixed up with the result. I didn't know actually who was the heel and who was the face in that match.
See, we got an hour and a half through the podcast without a Liam Wood heel turn reference, and you've ruined it.
He baited it, right. So, what do you think of Wood since the heel turn? I'm guessing this must have happened recently. So, no, seriously, I've always enjoyed Liam Wood's promos, to be honest. I enjoyed the stuff with Dicey. That was a great rivalry. And I've really enjoyed the whole Kingslayer thing, although he does say that he didn't get it from Game of Thrones. I am certain he did.
His hand off and just say he didn't.
So come on, guys, let's feed his ego a little bit. What do you think of Liam since the heel turn?
I think he needed it. I think he needed a heel turn. I think nothing against Liam or Liam with the character. The need to develop the character more. Having been a heel and a face, it kind of gives more depth to the character, and he needed it a little bit.
Paul, go on.
But he couldn't just be a good guy forever. He had to develop into something else, and his egos come out. And this is why I compared him to Hero a bit, that side of thing. Although I don't think he's got a long way to go to match Hero, because Hero went round winning different world titles in different fake defense. Just to feel his ego to call himself an 8-time champion.
Deck
Never won the CW one.
Deck, obviously, you know, he finished the rivalry by throwing you down 50 stairs. Do you think he's sort of moved on from that and took it to
Yeah, he's stepped up and he's caught the ball and ran with it. He always had it in him anyway to do. His promos are always top notch.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It was always going to happen. Just someday he'll actually born and heal properly and we'll all be happy.
I can't wait for the day when he actually truly becomes a heel. Paul, what do you think of Wood since the heel turn?
No, I think he's as much as he was against it as an idea, because he didn't think that the character would ever really be a heel. I think he's embraced it. He's done well. I still think there are more heely things he could do. Just he needs to cross that line maybe a little bit more. Not in terms of just like the violence, but just cheating now and again would be good to see.
Well, is that more of a match writing thing rather than in terms of promos? Because obviously, him as a character, he can only go so far with it. Who's playing didgeridoo?
Max.
But yeah, I think you know, as much as he can promo as a heel, obviously any cheating involved in matches has got to be done by the match writer.
No, I agree. It's just more about having that sneakiness, and at the moment, I think the character, because he's still kind of straight edge, and he still has some very face-like qualities to him, or tweener-like qualities. So I just need to push him over that line properly, and so he's full-blown heel. I don't know what it would take to do it. But I still think I think there's still more that we can do.
I think as long as it involves 50 stairs, it's all good.
Yeah, and note how I say we rather than Liam. I don't think it's anything that he needs to do in terms of his promos. It's more what we can do to develop the character more, because he's now reached a point where he's the champion and he's done X, Y, and Z. And now what can we do to just push him that little bit more, so everyone really, really hates him.
Deck, Marky, what would you do with Liam if you could promo as him with his current storyline as champion and links to Jones?
I'd make the ego bigger. I'd make a bigger thing about. I know it's kind of already going down that route, but yeah, just big I am. Just make a big thing about how I'm the champion, I'm the man. Kind of push more on that, lean more on that, and then about how it's because he wants to bring the straight edge thing into it. Because of that, that's why he's better. Maybe not without ripping off CM Punk too much, but that kind of idea that he's better because of his lifestyle.
Okay, Declan, what about you?
You should just go into the crowd and slap a baby. That's it. Everyone will hate him then.
With his tattooed penis.
That he got on tattoo.
That would probably cross a line, wouldn't it? If I'm thinking about it, if I want to cross a line, slapping a baby with a tattooed penis probably does it. But
while shouting, do you want some milk?
Yeah, this is why I'm not allowed to do creative meetings on my own.
It's what 4 hours on a train does every Monday, doesn't it?
That's exactly what it is. Well, Railways being what they are.
Who will Crime Lord lose his title to?
He never will. More fun to book him always winning.
Marky.
I am winking constantly as I say that, just in case anyone.
No. I totally agree.
I was winking as well, by the way. I'm not overly excited by this podcast.
Marky.
Yeah.
So, who will Crime Lord lose his title to? Based on the current storyline, obviously, Mr. Jones has sort of turned on him. Who do you think his next opponent's going to be at Night of Glory?
I think Crime Lord's kind of becoming like a face by default, isn't he? By being against Mr. Jones. So I think someone like Cassius would be a good opponent to do that. Presuming the standard stays up all the way up to Night of Glory, then I think there'd be no complaints either.
No, I can agree with that. Deck?
Yeah, I can agree with that. That'd be a great feud between the two of them.
You're breaking up a little bit, Deck.
Deck's being replaced by Stephen Hawking, by the sound of it.
WWF up there.
Hello, my name is Declan.
Now I can see forever.
It's a lot easier to understand than the Irish accent.
Racist.
But Pink Potato wasn't.
That was gay and racist.
Okay, the last question. It's from Nay. Will me or Nando get the last question in? Nay, you won that one. Right. Just talking about 6CW as it is. Obviously, we've got 31 characters at the minute. Promo wise, we're reaching sort of 30s to 50s every single show now. Is this giving creative like a lot more food for thought?
Is that one for me, I guess?
Yeah.
It makes it a lot more challenging. Because you've got to try and make give everyone enough time on each card, so they actually want to come back and promo for the next show. So yeah, it is difficult. We've got quite a few titles, so we can keep everyone involved. We might have to put people together in tag teams to make sure that everyone has a part to play. We have considered other options in terms of splitting the roster. Can we do a show each week, stuff like that? So there's plenty of options we can explore.
I think once you get to sort of 40 guys, that might be a very viable option, like a weekly show with two separate brands maybe. But
yeah, it also depends on how many promos you've got as opposed to characters. If we've got 30 characters but only 10 promos because everyone's got 3 characters, then we would probably make a decision and say to people, do you mind dropping someone just so we can focus on kind of the core people. It's the same reason. I think there was a question on there around the women's division that 6WF.
Oh, there was. I missed that one. Sorry. Yeah.
So it's alright. I'll just do your job for you. And that's another reason why it would be a good idea, but it would probably just be the current people who would create a female wrestler, and so it just takes away from the character that they maybe want to promo as. So we'll just have to see. It is challenging, and as you can see from the last card, it was absolutely huge. And if we were to do singles matches each week, that is the kind of card that we would have. So that's why we have quite a lot of multi-team, multi-men matches. Hopefully, it's not taking away anything from the shows, just because people are involved in multi-man matches a bit more.
He's going to keep the pre-show, because I thought that was actually quite good.
We spoke about this earlier.
Right. He wasn't
He wasn't around.
No.
It's definitely something we could do.
I was going to go on to it.
You just don't want people to see it as like as not being on the card, that you're almost on a dark match and you're not as important. That's the only problem we have with it. As long as everyone's happy that that you appear somewhere, and that's our way of making sure that everyone gets a bit on the show, then yeah, it's definitely an option.
I suppose
the shows themselves are just really, really big and hard to write for. This show coming up has, is it something like 8 matches, including the main event? If you consider all of the segments, you've probably got 3 segments in between all the matches in order to tell the story. So you're getting on towards 20 something segments that need writing. So it's getting bigger and bigger. So that's why it's good to have all the help that we have. That's why I pester people all the time, say, can you write this, can you write that? Because without that structure that we have, it would be impossible.
I'm still waiting for my segment request, but
well, I did ask again and you didn't reply.
I think I must have missed it. We're in the Facebook chat.
Yes.
That was probably working. That's becoming
well, you tell me now, how many segments would you like?
How many you got?
20.
I'll take 2.
Alright. Okie doke.
I'll take 1%. Or is that 10? That's 10%.
That's 1% more. That's 1% more than Chris is taking, so that's fine by me.
Okay.
I'm picking on him now. He's gone.
I think we've pretty much covered everything today. I think when we
cars flashing the lights at me here.
That's because they're dogging.
Yes.
That's what that is. I think just really quickly, Deck brought up the pre-show, and we spoke about getting rid of the characters that weren't promoting. Instead of having them in matches on the main show, maybe that could be a way of keeping them characters active but not a part of the main show.
Possibly. That's how the idea for the Forgotten came about. So the idea for the Forgotten originally, when we first discussed it, was that we took a group of people that weren't being promoted for. Chris would kind of take over responsibility for them, and they would become a group called the Forgotten. But in a sense, Chris would continue to promo for them, and then they would be involved in matches. But then that just evolved quite quickly into what we actually went with. But yeah, it's definitely something we've considered.
Cool. Okay, guys. We'll call it a day here. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Can I ask a question so that Nay isn't the final person to ask a question?
Well, I think because we missed out on Marky's question, Marky was technically the last person, but Paul, go on.
Well, I think that Marky already answered, so I just want to know from all of you, who do you think is going to win the TV tournament?
Okay, Deck.
I think I answered that last week, and I said it was Angle.
Yeah, and I said Thunder, same as Marky. So I can't see. As I've said to Deck, I can't see Engel winning it. I can see reasons why he would, but I don't know. I see Engel's feud going into Night of Glory going somewhere else.
So if Thunder wins it, would that be seen as him kind of stepping back?
Well, you see,
from the main event scene, as he was touted to win the big one in Night of Glory, but if he has another championship, will he?
But when Jones made the TV title, you see, this is something I did read. When Jones made the TV title announcement, he did say that the winner of the tournament would be the face of the company. So, is it a step back, or is it sort of Thunder becoming the poster boy that he should have been?
There's 2 world titles. You can't pretend that the TV title was going to be as up there with the 2 world titles.
It was like when he had the international title, he lost at the Crime Lord and then he got the push, but if he goes back, it's just saying that he failed. And
No,
would
I
that
can,
be
I, can, I,
demoralising
can, I can
for-
see that point. I can see that point, actually, thinking about it. Okay, maybe not Thunder, but I'm sticking to my guns on this.
I actually, I'm thinking maybe it might have been change of plans based on new characters coming in, and I think Marshall might be a favourite for it.
Marshall Murdoch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. He had a good showing against Lex Hart.
Did he promo tonight? Then no.
No, it went. It went even like that.
The voice has spoken.
That's it.
Right then, guys.
Well, what I would say is that there are lots of twists and turns to come, and things will happen that maybe you won't expect. So maybe it's not as cut and dry as some would assume.
And I think I can say for everyone that we look forward to that.
And I've got one final question for Marky before people start having sex outside his car.
Or inside.
Well, just an added bonus, isn't it? Live sex podcast. Definitely keep Ed listening.
How many sex he's gonna get?
No, he said that he just might not be disclosing it to us, that he's getting loads and he's just not telling us.
That's like, I have a girlfriend, but she lives in Canada.
So, Marky, gut feeling, I don't know if you want to go with your head or go with your heart. Does Max finish the next show as new world champion?
See, now, is that a trick question? Because he had finish rather than win the match. Does he finish the show? Or is that just how you
No, it's not a trick question. It's is Max going to win the match? Is he going to become 60W champion?
Yes.
It's brave.
I know it's not going to actually change the outcome. So yeah, why not? I mean, it is head v heart, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going with my head, Adamson.
I can see it happening. Definitely.
It's definitely a heart thing. Yeah, Adamson's. It's a big thing about Twist basically being champion from Night of Glory to Night of Glory, but his promos do warrant that. To be fair,
They do.
so I wouldn't be shocked if Joshua retained and went to Night of Glory and even retained the Night of Glory. But yeah, I'm going to say Adamson because I'm biased.
I did say weeks ago that I thought that the whole Joshua being champion could actually have legs until Beachfront Brawl. I did say that. So in my eyes, I think Twist has got the promo ability to be able to carry that. There's merit for Max Adamson and Joshua to win on Monday. So I've got a feeling Max Adamson's going to win, but I'm not putting no money on it.
Yeah, I think if he does, it's not clean. Just saying.
The next episode,
when he does win, it's somebody's getting involved if he does win.
the next episode of Anarchy will say, and it was all a dream.
Yeah. Adamson wakes up in the shower with Anthony Grace.
Marky, I don't think anyone's going to finish clean on your car if you sit there any longer.
He'll freeze if he keeps doing that.
Right then, guys, thank you all for being on the show. Great to have you on. See you all again next time.
Yo, cheers.
See you later.
Good night.
Later, guys.